Welcome to the deep dive. You've sent over some really interesting sources about boosting SEO and content effectiveness.
Yeah, some fascinating stuff in there.
And one idea really jumped out the shift away from, let's say, old school SEO towards focusing on information gain rate.
Exactly. It feels like a much smarter way to operate now. It's less about just, checking boxes for the search engine.
And more about the audience.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Making sure they actually learn something useful efficiently when they land on your page. Cutting through the noise, basically.
Which I think is perfect for you listening because we know you value getting straight to the good stuff, avoiding that information overload feeling.
Definitely. Nobody has time to wade through pages of fluff anymore.
So our mission for this deep dive is clear. What exactly is this information gain rate? How is it different from the SEO we're used to? And crucially, how can you use it to make your content, well, better, more impactful?
And it's worth mentioning someone who's really pushing this approach, Alan Osborne, over at SEO Inbound Marketing.
Oh, right. His website is www.coinbound-marketing.com.
That's the one. He's developed this system, the SEO Compass Audit, which is pretty comprehensive. It looks at, I think, over 150 KPIs.
Wow, 150.
Yeah. But the key thing is aligning those KPIs with your specific goals. And guess what? Measuring informational gain for the user is a core part of that audit.
Okay, so he's building this concept right into his evaluation process. It's not just theory.
Exactly. It's about asking, is this content actually delivering real value efficiently? Not just attracting clicks, but satisfying the need behind the click.
That makes sense. So let's properly unpack information gain rate. It stems from information foraging theory, is that right?
That's the academic background, yeah.
Yeah.
Think of how, like, an animal searches for food.
Okay.
They want the most calories, the most nutrition for the least amount of energy spent searching or hunting.
Right. Efficiency.
We do the same thing online when we're looking for information. We're foraging. We want the best info, the most useful news stuff with the least clicking, scrolling, and deciphering.
So information gain rate is basically the amount of valuable new knowledge gained divided by the effort it took.
You got it. High value, low effort. That's the goal.
Hmm.
Maximum insight, minimum hassle.
It feels intuitive when you put it like that. But how does focusing on that change the day-to-day practice of SEO? What looks different?
Well, it's a fundamental mindset shift, really. Traditional SEO often felt like trying to decode and please an algorithm first.
Keywords, link building, technical stuff.
Exactly. You focused on signals you thought the search engine wanted. Information gain rate SEO flips it. The human user comes first.
Okay.
The main aim is to give that person unique, valuable information in the most efficient way possible. Good rankings then become, ideally, a result of satisfying the user really well.
So it's not about just writing more content on a topic, because one source was pretty clear. It's not just information gain, full stop.
No, absolutely not. That's a key distinction. The old approach might have been, oh, this page ranks well, let's write something similar but longer.
Yeah, just adding more words.
Right. Information gain rate demands novelty or significantly improved clarity. You need to find actual gaps. What are people not finding elsewhere? Can you offer a truly fresh perspective, original data, or just explain much better?
So if everyone explains what something is, maybe the gap is explaining why it matters in a new context.
Precisely. Or providing a step-by-step guide where others just offer theory. It's about adding unique value, not just volume.
Now, this is where it gets kind of techy. The sources mentioned using things like NLP, natural language processing, and semantic analysis. How do those fit in?
Yeah. Those tools help us understand things on a deeper level. NLP helps us grasp the intent behind a user's search query, the nuances in their language.
Not just the specific words they typed.
Exactly. And semantic analysis helps us map out the relationships between concepts within a topic. So we can build content that's not just a list of keywords, but a rich, interconnected resource.
Like anticipating the next question they might have.
Yes. You use these tools to create something comprehensive that really covers the topic area, addressing related questions proactively. It's less about hitting keywords and more about satisfying the user's overall informational need around that subject.
So instead of keyword density, you're thinking about concept coverage, like building a really useful information hub.
That's a great way to put it. A hub or a really clear map. And that leads directly into finding those information gaps we talked about.
Right, the gap analysis. What does that look like in practice? How do you find what's missing?
Well, you start by looking at what's already ranking well for your target topic or query. You analyze that top content,
Okay.
and you specifically look for what they don't cover, what questions remain unanswered, what angles are neglected, or maybe where the existing explanations are just confusing or superficial.
So you're intentionally looking for the weak spots in the current landscape.
Exactly. The goal isn't imitation, it's innovation. You find those underserved areas and build content specifically to fill that void, offering something genuinely new or substantially better.
And once you have that unique, valuable information, presentation matters too, right? The sources talked about optimizing information architecture.
Hugely important.
Yeah.
The best insights in the world are useless if they're buried in a giant wall of text nobody can navigate.
We've all been there.
Right. So optimizing architecture means structuring your content logically, using clear headings, subheadings, maybe bullet points, lists, visuals, anything that helps the user scan quickly and find exactly what they need without getting lost.
Like designing a good user interface, but for content.
Perfect analogy. Make it intuitive, make it easy, reduce friction.
This whole approach feels much more human-centric. The sources kept hammering that point, right for humans first.
That really is the heart of it. If you genuinely focus on what your human audience needs and how they actually behave online.
Like how they read, how they scan.
Yeah. You end up creating stuff they find truly useful. And, almost as a side effect, you start sending positive signals to search engines too. Things like dwell time, bounce rate, engagement metrics, they all improve naturally when you're genuinely serving the user.
So it's like focusing on the user is the best way to optimize for modern search engines.
In many ways, yes, because the engines are getting much better at recognizing user satisfaction signals.
Okay, so let's get practical. For someone listening who wants to try this, what are the concrete steps? The sources laid out a kind of process.
Right. It starts with that deep dive into audience intent. Really understand the why behind their search. Then do that gap analysis we talked about. Find your unique angle.
Step 1, research and find the gap.
Exactly. Then outline your content structure. Think about putting the most important information, the core answer, up front. Front load the value.
Get to the point quickly.
Yes. Then the writing itself needs to be super clear, concise. Cut the jargon, cut the fluff. Every word should serve a purpose. Value-packed.
Then you layer in the semantic thinking, covering related concepts.
Yep. Ensure it's comprehensive for the topic. And then think hard about the user experience layout, readability, navigation. Is it easy on the eyes? Easy to scan?
And it's not a one-and-done thing?
Definitely not. The final step is continuous monitoring and refinement. Look at your analytics. See how people are actually using the content. Where do they drop off? What gets attention? Then tweak and improve based on that data.
Some key principles seem to crop up again and again in the sources, like maximize value per word.
Yeah, that's about being efficient with language. Deliver the most insight in the fewest clear words possible. Respect the reader's time.
And design for scanning.
Crucial. People rarely read word for word online initially. They scan, so use formatting, bold text, bullet points, short paragraphs, headings to guide their eye to the key takeaways.
Front-loading important info, reducing reader effort.
All part of the same philosophy. Make it easy for them to get the core message quickly. Minimize that mental effort, that effort tax.
But it still needs to be unique, right? Not just short and fast.
Absolutely. You have to provide unique value and make it easy to consume. Being fast and shallow isn't the answer. It's about being insightful and efficient.
It's interesting how this people-first approach actually seems to align perfectly with where search engines like Google are heading, with all their AI and NLP advancements.
It really does. The algorithms are getting much better at understanding content quality, relevance, and user satisfaction beyond just keywords. So focusing on information gain rate naturally creates the kind of content these sophisticated systems are designed to reward.
Potentially leading to better visibility, maybe even those featured snippets everyone wants?
It certainly increases the chances, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're directly answering the user's need, clearly and efficiently.
And the sources mentioned tools that can help with all this.
Sure. You've got your standard keyword research tools, but also more advanced content optimization platforms that help with semantic analysis and finding those gaps. Things like Surfer SEO or ClearScope come to mind.
Readability tools, too.
Yeah, like Hemingway app or Grammarly, to help ensure clarity and conciseness. And of course, analytics tools, Google Analytics, mainly are essential for tracking performance and user behavior.
So boiling it all down, this information gain rate strategy is about a fundamental shift. It's creating content that prioritizes giving the user the maximum new value with minimum effort.
Exactly. Moving from just thinking about algorithms to deeply understanding and serving human information needs.
Which perhaps ironically, seems to be the best way to succeed with those algorithms in the long run. It connects back to what Alan Osborne is looking for in his audits to real value delivery.
Precisely. It's a more sustainable, user-focused approach to SEO and content.
So a final thought for you, our listener. Take a minute and think about your own website, your own content. Is there one specific piece you could revisit right now through this lens of information gain rate?
Yeah. Could you make the main point clearer, faster? Could you cut some fluff, restructure it so people can scan and find the key info more easily?
Remember, faster, clearer answers tend to lead to happier, more engaged users. And that seems like the ultimate goal here. So, what's one piece of content you can improve today with this in mind?